Hi everyone, it's Kris Swiatocho with the singlesnetwork.org ministries and FromHisHands.com. You know, Jesus suffered loss. He knows what it feels to lose those people in his life that he cared about, some of those people that betrayed him, some of those people who weren't there that abandoned him. And he understands the loss that in the way that you have loss. Even God lost his son Jesus, so he knows what you're feeling right now. For me, I also had to experience the loss before I could even talk to anybody else about it. I knew that Jesus understood, but I needed to personally understand what it was to have this loss in my life. Well, as I mentioned earlier in one of the chapters, I had a wonderful stepfather, and he was the father I never had. I grew up with a dad who wasn't home very much. He was very abusive, wasn't really in my life hardly at all. And the times that he was there, it wasn't great. And I was glad that he wasn't there, to be honest with you. And as a child, I prayed and prayed and prayed, and I said, God, if I could just have a dad that wore a three-piece suit and came home every day. I wanted the dad that was like on television that I saw, that you could rely on, that was there and consistent. And so my parents' marriage would end, and I was thankful for that in one way and not thankful in other ways because, as a kid, it's just a struggle. But my mom would meet Henry. Now, Henry had come out of a really bad marriage that had lasted about 25 years. My mother's marriage had lasted 15 years, and they were two broken, hurting people that met each other. As they began to date, they first started off as friends, and that was always good to start off as friends. And she said, oh, by the way, I want to let you know, I've got 4 kids. Just want to put that out there, just in case you're thinking, He said, it's okay. He already knew about her kids. So they started to date, and they had a wonderful relationship. And I remember the day that he told me that he loved me. And I said, you love me? How do you didn't really know me that well? And he says, well, I love your mother, and you're part of your mother. And so I love you. And I thought of that as like Jesus. That we were adopted and we were chosen by God in the same way that this man chose to be my father, my stepfather, but would end up being what I would call my dad. So their marriage lasted 30 years. And before he got sick, my dad developed Alzheimer's, and he also had prostate cancer and a heart disease. And the last few years of his life were tough. He was bedridden for some of them, and I had the great honor of being able to help take care of him. Something as a single adult I mentioned earlier when I took care of my grandmother, that was an honor because my married brothers had a harder time getting the time to go and stay with my father. The last 9 months of his life, I got to move in and take care of him with my mom, to be there in those special times. Those times when he couldn't remember what he had for breakfast, but I could put a Johnny Cash video on and we would sing Walk the Line together. Or maybe we would put in an old Western of Clint Eastwood or John Wayne, and we would laugh. Because those are the things he could remember. But he couldn't remember what he did that day. I cherish those times. I'm thankful for those times as a single that I was able to be there with him as he was slowly dying. The day came, of course, that he did pass away, and I got to get up and share about his life. My dad loved duct tape. He didn't really know how to fix anything. He would just duct tape it back together. And then he'd spray paint it to match whatever he was duct taping. He also loved Cheetos and popcorn and Diet Coke. I remember I'd come home, it had been a year since his passing, and I'd come home for Thanksgiving, and I immediately went into the house expecting to see him sitting there in his recliner and watching something on television, although he began to not really enjoy TV much anymore. And he wasn't there. And then I went into his bedroom thinking, oh, he's in the bed sleeping, and he wasn't there. And oh, he must be in the bathroom. And I could just smell the English leather and the baby powder, which was what he loved to wear. But he wasn't there. And then it hit, he's not coming back. I remember a few months later is when I really began to feel the grief and the loss of not having my dad around. Watching my mom and see how she suffered and my siblings and how they suffered. And Jesus understands your loss. Maybe it's loss of a dream. Maybe it's loss of your job. Maybe it's loss of your kids. And you don't get to see your kids anymore, or you have to share custody with them, with their father or mother. Maybe it's a loss of, am I ever going to get married? I don't know what it is. But I cherish the time that I had with my dad. And I cherish and I'm thankful that he married this woman with 4 little rugrats that were all hurting and broken. I'm thankful that even though I have a great loss, I had a great gain. So as you're looking into your future, as you look into this study, be praying about the things in your life that may appear to be a loss but really are a gain. And be okay to go through this time, this season, because in the valleys, the next step is the mountaintop. This is Kris Swiatocho with the singlesnetwork.org ministries and FromHisHands.com.